Yes, so thanks once more for returning to Classic Dirt Bike TV, where we now take in the racing highlights from the 2023 Helsington Classic Scramble. So let's just get straight down to the start line for our first race of the day, which is the combined pre-60s, pre-65s and pre-68s, which are basically all of the vintage classes of this Helsington race event. So it looks like we are just about good to go. The 15-second board is now up with the 5-second board following. And as the riders leave the line, looks like a good start there by number 224. That's Andy Hinchcliffe on that 360 Czechoslovakian CZ bike. But an absolutely beautiful track here at Helsington in Kendal. And so as the riders make their way round to begin lap 1, it's still number 224, Andy Hinchcliffe on the twin port CZ. I think it's a 360, or it could possibly even be a 380, but your second place man now is number 9, that's Lewis Bell. I think Lewis is riding that big 500 or 600 four-stroke Jawa machine, but it's Andy Hinchcliffe, your race leader. Second, Lewis Bell. Third is number 146, that's Simon Chell. Fourth position just coming through there, I think that's Craig Holmes just going through there on the big BSA. So there's your race leader as he comes round to complete lap 1, number 224 Andy Hinchcliffe. Second is number 9 Lewis Bell. Third is number 146 Simon Chell. Fourth is number 139, that's Craig Holmes, and number 41 is Peter Dobinson. So there's your race leader again as he begins lap 2, number 224 Andy Hinchcliffe on that very rapid CZ twin port machine. You may remember we had a look at this bike in our paddock walkabout video, so as you can see it's quite a quick little motorcycle. So on lap 2 it's still number 224 Andy Hinchcliffe, who's being chased by this man here, number 9 Lewis Bell on the big 4-stroke Jawa. But this bike of Andy Hinchcliffe's is just one of 2 machines that he'll be riding at this Helsington Scramble. We will be able to see Andy on his CR250 on the Elsinore later in the programme, but there's your third and fourth riders just making their way through. Back with number 9 again, Lewis Bell in second position. And it is of course 5 laps of this quite historic Helsington racetrack for these bikes, as we take a look at our current leader again, number 224 Andy Hinchcliffe. Just gives you an idea how quick these old CZ twin porters were back in the day. I'm not exactly sure what year of CZ that bike of Andy's is, but I think it's a 1960s machine. But here's your second place man, number 9, Scotsman Lewis Bell, and currently now it's number 98, and that's Liston Bell, the older brother of Lewis. But Andy Hinchcliffe absolutely flying on this light and nimble 2-stroke Czechoslovakian twin port machine. It's still number 9 Lewis Bell there in second position on the 4-stroke Jawa, and it's currently number 98 Liston Bell in third. As we take a look at number 193 there, that's Mitch Hughes, just making his way through to begin another racing lap. Number 34 is Peter Gerrard, and number 13 there is Robin Chadwick. But this has been an almost perfect start to the day for number 224 Andy Hinchcliffe. Second is still number 9, Lewis Bell. And when these riders cross the line this time, they will of course be starting their last and final lap of this race, but it's still Andy Hinchcliffe, number 224, who's in command of this race. Andy's led this race almost from the first lap, so he's looking good for his first win of the day. So as our race leaders make their way through on their last and final lap, you're taking a look at number 310, that's Scott Remington, riding that beautiful BSA Gold Star. A lovely old machine there. Peter Dobinson, number 41, just going through, and number 118 is Kenny Harper. So we're back with our race leader as he heads towards the checkered flag. It's been a good start, and it looks like his first win of the day for this man here, number 224, Andy Hinchcliffe. Second position looks like it's going to be Lewis Bell, but this has been a perfect start to the day for number 224, Andy Hinchcliffe. It's going to be Lewis Bell who crosses the line in second, but I think we have a bit of a problem there with number 98, Liston Bell, who was currently in third position. It looks like Liston's got tangled up in the ropes, so crossing the line in third will be this man here, number 146. That is, of course, Simon Chell. And so that quite conveniently brings us on to race 2, which is the pre-1974s up to and over 250cc. Another good lineup of riders here, and it looks like Chris Story's made a good start there, number 180. Chris is riding that little 1974 250 Honda Elsinore. So it looks like it's been a good start by Chris, but Chris has already been passed by that man there, number 90, who is Sam Dickinson, riding his BSAB 50 500. So as we look to the far side of the racetrack as we begin lap 1, it looks like it's still number 280. That's Chris Story. And a bit of a correction here, I think that's a 1973 Honda CR250 Elsinore that Chris is riding. Number 264 now in second position is Chris Chell, riding that beautiful Shenny DSA. So as they come round to complete lap 1, it's number 280 Chris Story, second is Chris Chell, number 224 again is of course Andy Hinchcliffe in third position, and Andy is back out again in this race riding his 250 Honda Elsinore. So there's your race leader, number 280 Chris Story. It's still Chris Chell in second place with Andy Hinchcliffe in third. Number 125 going through there is Ian Stainton. So here's your race leader, Chris Story, on those iconic and very light and nimble two-stroke Honda Elsinore machines. And the weather, as you can see here at Helsington, is almost perfect for racing, with the track in fantastic condition, mainly due to the torrential thunderstorms that we had during the night, which has soaked the track sufficiently to keep any dust at bay. But it's still Chris Story, your race leader, and it's now Andy Hinchcliffe in second position with Chris Chell on the Shenny BSA in third. But it looks like Chris Story's coming under a bit of pressure now from Andy Hinchcliffe in second position. Remember, Andy Hinchcliffe's already won a race here this afternoon in race 1. but it looks like he's now past Chris Story, so our brand new race leader is number 224, Andy Hinchcliffe. Second is still Chris Story, but Andy Hinchcliffe once again absolutely flying on that Honda CR250 Elsinore. So it certainly looks like Andy Hinchcliffe is well on his way here on the 250 Elsinore. That's Graham Watson there, number 514, on that beautiful Shenny 200 with the Triumph motor in the chassis. That's a bike, of course, that we will be taking a closer look at here on my video channel at a later date. But here's your race leader. Once again, it's Andy Hinchcliffe, number 224. Second is still Chris Story, number 280, and it's Chris Chell, number 264, who is in third position on that lovely Shenny 500 BSA. So as our race leaders begin their last and final lap of this race, it's still this man here, number 224, Andy Hinchcliffe, but it looks like the two Chris's in second and third positions. That's Chris Story on the 250 Elsinore and Chris Chell on that big four-stroke Shenny 500. So it's Chris Story there, number 280, currently in second position, being chased by Chris Chell. And in terms of rider turnout at this Helsington meeting, it was quite well subscribed, with around 170 entries for this 2023 race meeting, so there was certainly no shortage of interested parties waiting to take part. So we're just waiting on our race leader cresting the hill as he comes up to begin his last and final lap. It's still number 224 Andy Hinchcliffe who leads at number 280 Chris Story, and it's still at number 264 Chris Chell in third position. As we take a look at number 125, that's Ian Stainton riding the Clues Stroker, and number 43 is Andy Mallock on that CZ. Looks like somebody's got a bit of a problem there with their 250 Yamaha. So we're back with our race leader as he has slightly less than half a lap still to run. It's that man again, Andy Hinchcliffe, this time of course riding the 250 Honda Elsinore and not the twin port CZ that we saw Andy racing in race 1. But this little 250 Elsinore is equally as quick, as you can see. Second place man is still number 280 Chris Story in second position. Chris Chell is still currently in third. It doesn't look like Chris is going to be able to make a move on Chris Story for that second place position, but as they come up to the checkered flag, it's going to be win number 2 for Andy Hinchcliffe. Chris Story is going to cross the line in second position, and it's going to be Chris Chell, number 264, in third. We are taking a look there at number 23. I think that's Sam Tatum on his CZ 250, as we look at that Yamaha being recovered back to the paddock. But there's Graham Watson there, and there's the problem that Graham had with his Shenny Triumph. It looks like a broken chain, but of course that's not nothing that can't be fixed back at the paddock. So that brings us quite nicely on to race 3, and this is the first race of the day for the pre-1978 class. Another very good lineup of riders for this class. It looks like we are all good to go. As the riders leave the line, it looks like a good start there by number 9. That's Lewis Bell. So it looks like Lewis Bell's made the early running. Ben Butterworth has also made a very good start there in third position. So as the riders make their way round to begin lap 1, we're taking a look there at number 53. That is of course Mr. Wolfsport himself, Bill Brown, still riding these old Michaels. But here's your race leader, number 9, Lewis Bell. This time Lewis is out on his Joe Maxwell replica CCM machine, so looks like Lewis has made a very good start on this first lap. So certainly Lewis off to a very good start in this first lap on the CCM bike. Second now is number 561, that's Tony Barnes. Ben Butterworth has now moved up into third position, so once again Ben's made a very good start in this race. Number 56 is John McCrink, just behind, Bill Brown, number 53. So on lap 2, it's still number 9, Lewis Bell, who leads this man here, Tony Barnes, who's also riding a CCM bike. I think that's an original CCM machine that Tony's riding. It looks like a 1974 model, but this will just give you an idea of how quick these Alan Clues CCMs were way back in the day. So it's still at number 9, Lewis Bell, your race leader. Tony Barnes is currently still in second position. So as it stands, we have 3 CCM 4-stroke machines in positions 1, 2 and 3. Tony Barnes there in second position as we watch our race leader just crest the hill. It's still Lewis Bell, number 9, who leads Tony Barnes in second position, but I think Ben Butterworth has now been demoted to 4th place position. It looks like it's Nathan Jones who's now in 3rd position. Nathan Jones, of course, is also riding one of these 4-stroke Alan Clues bikes. But this man here, number 9, Lewis Bell, has just only recently returned to racing. He more or less missed the whole of 2022 with a shoulder injury that he received at Drumlandrig Castle in that year and never raced the rest of the season. But it looks like he's back up to speed once again. So it's Lewis Bell, your race leader, from this man here, number 561, Tony Barnes, and it's a good scrap here between Ben Butterworth and Nathan Jones. Nathan Jones currently, of course, in that 3rd place position, but it looks like Ben's having another go to try and retain that position. He's going to try and go around the outside. So this is a good ride here by Ben Butterworth as they make their way up the hill to complete another lap. So it's still number 9, Lewis Bell, who is your race leader, but it looks like Tony Barnes has certainly got his big CCM hooked up, and he certainly appears to be making ground on the Scotsman Lewis Bell up front. So we could see quite a good scrap before we get to the end of this race. So Tony Barnes going very well on that Alan Clues CCM. So once again, this is another good ride from this man, Tony Barnes. 5 laps, of course, of this track as we take a look at our 3rd placed rider. Looks like Ben Butterworth has now taken back that 3rd place position from Nathan Jones. So as I said, a very good scrap going on between these guys for the 3rd and 4th placed position. But Ben Butterworth going very well on his 1974 CCM. So we're back with our race leader, number 9, Lewis Bell, who is now beginning his last and final lap of this race. So this has been a good ride here by Lewis, so hopefully he'll keep it between the ropes to cross that finishing line ahead of 2nd place man Tony Barnes. And it certainly looks like Lewis is back up to full fitness once again, because he's certainly going quick on that 4-stroke CCM bike. So just a few more corners to go to secure the win in this class. So this has been another good ride here by Lewis Bell, and we'll shortly try and pick up who is going to take that second and third place position, but it looks like it's going to be Tony Barnes in second place, number 561. So it's a win for Lewis Bell. Tony Barnes is in second, and it looks like it's going to be Ben Butterworth who's going to take that third place position from Nathan Jones in fourth. So that brings us on to race 4, and this is the first of the Twin Shock 125A and Twin Shock 125B class. There's some really quick riders in this class on these smaller capacity machines, but nonetheless they're still very quick around this Helsington racetrack. Now, of course, this is a combined race between the Twin Shock 125A and 125B, but both of these classes, of course, will be scored separately as they cross the finish line due to the electronic transponders that each bike has fitted to the chassis. So as we look to the far side of the track, we can't make out any numbers at this point, but it does look like it could be number 91, Neil Brooks, on his Honda 125, who is the leader. But as they come towards us, you can see that we do already have a change of leader at the front, because it now looks like it's number 151, that's Mark Silverton, on that very rapid 125 RM Suzuki. Number 51 in second place is Martin Stokes. So Martin Stokes has also made a very good start in this first lap of the 125 class. So as they begin lap 2, it's still number 151, Mark Silverton, your race leader. Second is number 51, Martin Stokes, and I think that could be Neil Brooks, who is currently in third place, also riding one of these very rapid Honda CR 125s. But here's your race leader, number 151, Mark Silverton, on the little RM 125 Suzuki. So there's your race leader, Mark Silverton. I think we have a change of second place rider in that position. It's now number 91, Neil Brooks, who is in second. Martin Stokes has been demoted to third position. Just try and pick up a few of the other riders going through there. Number 86 just making his way through. I think that was Mike Dowson. That was one of the bikes we had a look at in our paddock walkabout. So as we watch our riders take to the far side of the track, still looks like it's Mark Silverton, your race leader. Neil Brooks is currently in second, number 91, and it's still Martin Stokes in third on his CR125 Honda. But as you can see, they're still very quick little machines, these 125 two-stroke bikes, and there's certainly been a resurgence of interest in these 125s, especially with the air-cooled championship that's currently on the go in the UK. So as I said, certainly enough interest in these smaller motocross machines. So we're looking at our race leader, number 151, Mark Silverton, and second position is still Neil Brooks, number 91. Martin Stokes there, number 51, is currently in third place as the riders come across to complete another lap. Number 12 just making his way through there. I think that was Andy Craig on his RM 125 Suzuki. But Mark Silverton certainly got a quick and nimble little 125 screamer beneath him. Of course, Mark's quite a talented rider in his own right, but not much to choose between these first, second and third placed riders. So once again we've got a good scrap going on here for the first to third podium positions. So as the riders come down the hill, it's still number 151 Mark Silverton who leads number 91 Neil Brooks there on his CR125 Honda, and I think that could be maybe a 1979 machine that Neil's riding. Number 51 Mark Stokes is in third place, who's riding a 1980 model of one of these 125s. So as our three race leaders begin their last and final lap of this first Twin Shock 125 race of the day, it's still the man in front there, number 151 Mark Silverton, who leads number 91 Neil Brooks, and it's currently Martin Stokes, number 51, who is in third place. But not much to choose between these first three riders, so we could still see a different winner at the front as they cross the line, but Neil Brooks is certainly looking a bit menacing there as he goes to take the high line, maybe to cut in tight as he comes down the hill. So he's going to have a go, but Mark Silverton is still managing to keep Neil Brooks at bay, so we have a couple more turns still to go in this race. So it looks like it's going to be a win for this man here, number 151 Mark Silverton, and it's going to be number 91 Neil Brooks who's going to cross the line in second, and it's been another good ride by Martin Stokes coming through in third. Okay, so we're now on to race 5. And this is the Twin Shock 250 class. Plenty of lovely 250s in this race, and a nice gaggle of 250 Honda red rockets as well. So we'll just try and pick up some of the riders as they make their way through to begin lap 1. And it looks like Ryan Ireland's made a good start there, number 43 in second place, as we take a look at number 78. That's Alex Martin. So we've already got a battle on at the front here, and it looks like Ryan Ireland is your early race leader. And it looks like in second place, I'm having a guess here, that's David Wood on his RM 250 Suzuki. It's not easy to read David's race number because he's got green backgrounds with black lettering, so it's not easy to read that race number, but of course it will be no problem with the transponders. But from my point of view, not easy to read that race number, but it's still Ryan Ireland, your race leader. We'll say David Wood is in second position. Number 2 just going through there is Sean Muir, and he's riding a 250 red rocket. Number 43 Ryan Ireland there, your race leader, beginning his second racing lap. As we take a look at number 76 just going through there, I think that's Mark Franklin. But Ryan Ireland certainly on his way here on the 250 Honda red rocket. And as far as I'm aware, it's still David Wood, number 69, in second position on the RM Suzuki. So Ryan Ireland just going through to complete another racing lap. Number 81 is Chris Cannon, with one of the many Suzukis that Chris has in his possession. I think he told me that he had about 16 RM Suzukis, so he's certainly the man who likes his Suzuki. So there's your second placed rider, number 69, I think it is, David Wood, on the 250 RM Suzuki from 1979. So David running very well there in second position. But you can certainly imagine the history and nostalgia that surrounds this Helsington racetrack, from holding scrambles away back in the 1960s, when more than likely some of Britain's greatest racers would have thundered around this racetrack. So it's great that another historic scrambles track has been brought back to life. So there's your race leader, Ryan Ireland, in first position. Second is number 69, David Wood. Number 22 in third is Peter Carr. And guess what make of bike Peter's riding? Yes, you got it right, another red rocket. Number 72 is George Dodgson, also riding a 250 red rocket. But here's your race leader, number 43, Ryan Ireland, who is currently leading David Wood, number 69, in second position. But certainly a big pat on the back to the Westmoreland Motor Club for the days of hard work put in by their club members and helpers to make this event go ahead. It's quite a bit of organisation and infrastructure to put in place for a one-day race meeting. So from me, well done to all who made it happen. So we're back with our race leader once again, number 43, Ryan Ireland, who appears to have a decent lead over second place man. That was number 69, David Wood, who's just going through there. Here's your third placed position rider, number 2, Sean Muir, who is just ahead of number 22, Peter Carr. Number 21 just going through there is Neil Jones, and number 15 is a rider that's not actually registered in the race programme. So it's certainly still number 43, Ryan Ireland, who is your race leader as he starts his last and final lap of this race. You can see Ryan's very quick on this 250 Honda Red Rocket, and it's currently still David Wood, number 69, who is still in second position. So once again, this has been quite a good ride by Ryan Ireland, and of course we will be taking a look at Ryan in one of the other races when he comes out with some of the big boys in the twin shock class. So it's the first win of the day for number 43, Ryan Ireland. David Wood is going to cross the line in second position, and it's going to be number 2, Sean Muir, who's going to take that final podium position spot. So that quite nicely brings us on to race 6, which of course is the twin shock riders over 60 years of age. As you can see, an almost full gate of riders for this race. So even although these guys may be in their more maturing years, they're certainly very quick on these classic motocross machines. So as the riders begin lap 1, I think that could be number 62, Chris Woodward, who's taken the early lead in this race, and I think Chris is riding one of those big 480 monster of a Honda machines from 1983. So is indeed number 62, Chris Woodward, your race leader as they come round to start at lap 1. I'll just try and pick up who is currently in that second place position, if we can get a look at the rider's number. But I'm going to stick my neck out again. I think that could be number 185. I think that could be Gary Morley, who's currently in second position on the YZ250 Yamaha. So as they come towards us, it's still Chris Woodward, your race leader. It is in fact Gary Woodward, your second placed rider. Number 93 just making his way through. That's Nigel Sowerby on the big Maiko, and I've seen an Italian Moto Villa just making its way through there, a quite rare machine. So as we pick up our race leaders on lap 2, it still is number 62 Chris Woodward who leads number 185 Gary Morley on the YZ 250 Yamaha. I think Paul Chiappa is also on his way here. I think Paul is currently in 4th position, the multiple Scottish twin shock champion. I think Paul Chiappa is now currently about 65 years old, so he's still quick on one of these 490 Michaels. But here's your race leader, number 62 Chris Woodward on the 480 CR Honda. Absolute rocket ships of a machine, these big Hondas. So as a race leader comes towards us, it's still number 62 Chris Woodward who leads number 185 Gary Morley there on the YZ 250 Yamaha. Paul Chiappa is now moved up into 3rd position on the 81 490 Michael. Looks like we've got a faller there. That's number 27. That's Mike Doby, who seems to have dropped his 250 Honda. And it looks like we've got a change of 2nd place position. So it's now Paul Chiappa who's in 2nd place, and it looks like he's lining up a move on Chris Woodward on the big 480 Honda. So Paul Chiappa now blasts through to take the lead of this race. So it's the multiple Scottish twin shock champion Paul Chiappa, number 2, who leads number 62 Chris Woodward on the 480 Honda. So it's the German Michael versus the might of the Japanese in 1st and 2nd place positions. It's still number 185 Gary Morley in 3rd position, and it looks like one of the Sowerby boys is moved up into 4th. But it's still the veteran racer from Scotland, number 2 Paul Chiappa on the 490 Michael, who now leads Chris Woodward, number 62 in 2nd position. And it's still number 185 Gary Morley who's currently in 3rd, but Paul Chiappa already beginning to stretch the legs of that very quick 81 490 Michael. So as you can see, even for being or approaching 65 years of age, this veteran of motocross Paul Chiappa is still super quick on these big Michaels. Paul, of course, is the owner and operator of Dunfermline Motorcycles, but has now retired and sold his business, so he's got lots more time now to come to these old classic twin shock race events. So it's still currently number 2 Paul Chiappa who leads number 62 Chris Woodward, and it looks like number 185 Gary Morley is coming under pressure from number 93. That's Nigel Sowerby, who's also riding one of those big Michaels, but it looks like we have a retiree from this race. I think that's number 10. I think that could be Chris Barker, who's got mechanical issues with his big Michael. So as the riders come round to start their last and final lap of this riders over 60 plus class race, it's still number 2 Paul Chiappa who's now coming under pressure from number 93. That's Nigel Sowerby, also riding 490 Michael. So we could have a good scrap to the finish line between these two talented riders, but it's currently still Paul Chiappa who has the small margin of a lead over number 93 Nigel Sowerby. So as our race leaders come down from the top of the track. It's still number 2 Paul Chiappa with a very small lead over this man here, number 93 Nigel Sowerby, but we have just a couple of turns to go before the end of this race, but it looks like it's going to be the first win of the day for the Flying Scotsman at number 2 Paul Chiappa on the 81 490 Michael, and it's going to be Nigel Sowerby who's going to take that second place position. And so that brings us on to race 7, which is another one of the age-related races. This is the age 45 to 50 years, so slightly younger riders to our 60 plus class. Another very good lineup of riders here. We're just waiting on the bikes getting under starters orders. The 5-second board is now up and the riders are away. Good start there by number 3. I think that's Willie Burgess from Northern Ireland. So as the riders start lap 1, I think it's actually number 777. I think that's Ewan Johnson, who's made an absolute blinder of a start on that Bill Brown Michael. Willie Burgess currently there in second position, but some very quick riders in this race. But as we look to the far side of the racetrack, it's number 3 Willie Burgess on the Maygo Michael. I'm not exactly sure why it's called a Maygo Michael. I think it actually means it may go, or then again it may not, but it's certainly Willie Burgess, your race leader, from number 777. That's Ewan Johnson in second position. Would have certainly seen this man here, number 3 Willie Burgess, at quite a few meetings recently, and he's more or less won most of the races that he's taken part in. So again, he's going very well here at this Helsington Classic Scramble. Let's try and pick up a few more of the other riders making their way through. Number 17 just going past there is Mike van der Meer. So there's your current race leader, number 3 Willie Burgess, who already has quite a decent lead over the rest of the chasing pack, and absolutely flying on this big Michael. Number 2 there is Dave Salkeld, who's just ahead of Ewan Johnson there, number 777. Number 46 is Paul Bethel on the big 540 Husqvarna 4-stroker. Number 2 Dave Salkeld just making his way through again, and just in the background there you can see the famous photographer Eric Kitchen snapping away there. Eric, an absolute legend when it comes to taking pictures of motocross events. So as the riders begin lap 2, it's still this man here, number 3 Willie Burgess. Whoa! And that was some kick that Willie got on the back end there, going over that little lip. But this is still a fantastic track here at Helsington, but there are 1 or 2 little tricky bumps on this track, so you have to be wary of them when you make your way over. But Willie Burgess absolutely flying on this big Michael. So as it stands, it's still Willie Burgess, your race leader. I think it's Dave Salkeld there, number 2, who is currently in second position, and it looks like Ewan Johnston is heading for a DNF there. It looks like he's pulling out of this race, so it's number 46 now, Paul Bethel, who's currently in third place. There you can see Ewan Johnson. He must have some kind of mechanical issue with that big Michael. And we'll just take a look at some of the other riders making their way through. Number 45 just going past there, that was Paul Smith on his Yamaha YZ 465, but As we look to the far side of the track, it's still Willie Burgess, number 3, who appears to be out there racing on his own. It doesn't look like anybody's going to get close enough to challenge Willie in this race, and it's still currently number 2, Dave Salkeld, who is in second place at this point. It doesn't look like anybody's going to get close enough to make a challenge on this man here, number 3, Willie Burgess, as he crosses the line to start his last and final lap of this race. So this has been a very dominant performance by the man from Ireland, number 3, Willie Burgess. And as far as I'm aware, it's still number 2, Dave Salkeld, who's in second position, but quite a way back from Willie Burgess. So as long as Willie can keep this machine between the ropes, he's on his way for his first win of the day. But there's your second place man, number 2, Dave Salkeld, who has ridden a fantastic race, but unfortunately not being able to get close enough to Willie Burgess to make a challenge for the lead in this race. But it's still been a very good performance here by Dave Salkeld. So as a race leader comes round to take the checkered flag, it's the first win of the day for number 3, Willie Burgess. Dave Salkeld is going to take that second place position, and it doesn't look like Ewan Johnson's been recovered back to the paddock as yet, but he started this race very well. So that brings us on to the final race in this part 1 of the racing highlights from Helsington 2023, and this is the twin shock age 45 class. So we're just waiting on the 5-second board going up. Once again, another very big field of riders for this race, but it looks like it's a good start by number 48, Mark Fulton, the ex-Works Kawasaki rider. So it's Mark Fulton, your race leader, as they begin lap 1. So it is indeed number 48, Mark Fulton, on that very quick Stuart Bland built Honda. I think currently in second position. I think it's Ryan Ireland who's back out in this big boys race. Remember, Ryan just previously won a race on the 250 Honda, but he's currently in second position here. There's Mark Fulton, your race leader. Ryan Ireland in second. Number 25 is Jamie Law, who's in third. Number 31 just making his way through there. I think that was Jonathan McBride. But Mark is absolutely flying on this 500 Honda. Second position is still Ryan Ireland. It's Jamie Law currently in third. So as the riders make their way through for another lap, it's still currently this man here, number 48, Mark Fulton, on the big 500 Stuart Bland Honda, who is your race leader. Second position is still Ryan Ireland, but as you can see, it doesn't take these guys very long to complete a lap of this Helsington racetrack. 4 there, John. That's Joe Dickinson. Sorry, it looks like Joe's had some kind of mechanical issue as well, but no such problems for the man at the front, Mark Fulton. It's still Ryan Ireland there at number 43 in second position, but I think this is a big bore Honda that Ryan's riding this time, probably a 480 or 500 Honda, but damn quick, as you can see. So we've got 2 very quick riders here at the front of this pack. So it looks like a good scrap developing here between Mark Fulton, this man here, number 43, Ryan Ireland, and of course Jamie Law there, number 25, who is still in third position. So we've got a few laps yet to go, but it's still Mark Fulton, your race leader. Ryan Ireland, number 43, is currently in second position as these two riders complete another racing lap. And as I said, this of course is just part one of the racing highlights from Helsington 2023, and there should be at least another 2 videos to follow. So we did manage to cover at least 28 of the scheduled 30 races on the day, so there's still plenty of these kind of highlights for you to enjoy and take a look at. So we're back with our 3 race leaders. It's still Mark Fulton, your race leader, from number 43, Ryan Ireland, but Jamie Law certainly looks like he's closing in on Ryan Ireland, so absolutely nothing between these 3 riders at the front, but Jamie Law is certainly making ground on Ryan Ireland, so basically any 3 of these riders could still win this race, but it's this man here, number 48, Mark Fulton, absolutely flying on that big 500 Honda. Jamie Law is still in third, but it's Ryan Ireland in second, but as you can see, almost together as they make their way across the finish line. So as our top 3 riders make their way around the track for the last and final time of asking, it looks like Jamie Law is certainly going to try and make a move on Ryan Ireland before the end of this race, but Mark Fulton is still the race leader. Jamie Law is now up into second position from Ryan Ireland in third, so this has been a cracking ride here by Jamie Law, I think is also riding one of those big 500 Honda machines. But certainly Jamie Law is going quick enough to make a move on Mark Fulton for the win of this race. But it's still the ex-Works Kawasaki man, Mark Fulton, your race leader. Jamie Law is currently in second position, but just a few turns to go now before the end and the checkered flag. So it's still Mark Fulton who's going to come down the hill to take the win of this race, and it's going to be a second place position for Jamie Law, number 25.